The Turning Point Web version allows you to do the PowerPoint integration and anywhere polling straight from your desktop, but everything loads to the website, so you're not storing anything locally. We're going to look through what TurningPointWEB can do for you. I've already logged into TurningPointWEB with my NetID and password, so we're just going to get started with the PowerPoint version. So we're going to go ahead and click on Start Now in PowerPoint, and let me drag these in. PowerPoint will load in just a second. Resize PowerPoint here so we can see everything. Now, I am doing this on a Mac, so the toolbar is outside of PowerPoint and my question pane options are outside PowerPoint as well. Everything else should be very similar inside the PC version, and we'll have a video on that as well. Now on your turning point bar up here, you have your account settings. You can click on account and it will take you to your web to look at your user information there. Your second options is your create. This is where you would actually create your questions. So we're going to go ahead and work through this in just a second. Your third option is your polling. Now, you click your connect here to launch your mobile responses. You can select your session ID. I'll do my UTK OIT 100. You also will select the course. I am in my OIT test course right now, but you can see that I have all the courses listed that are on my current site. And we'll go ahead and start the mobile session. It'll tell me my session ID, the course that I'm connected to, and how many connections I have. And it'll say that the results will be automatically saved when polling has been closed. So we're going to close this, and we're going to see that my polling button up here now is says information with a check mark. I can end my polling here as well. I can choose how I want to do my polling, and in this case I can actually enable physical clicker support. So if you want to use this in a hybrid environment like we used to with the desktop only app, you can do that as well. You can view results as we're going through it. We can also go into the preferences, which I will show you now. Preferences, we have a couple options here. We can choose how we want to display content on participant devices. We can send all slides, so every slide that we present in PowerPoint will be sent to the students. We can select polling slides only. This means that only the slides with the questions on them will show to the students. We can choose when we want our charts to display. We can say when we open polling, so if you want those charts to fluctuate as people answer, this would be your option. If you want to only display charts when the question is closed, you can say when I close polling. If you do not want to display a chart, you can choose never. Display charts on mobile, on your participant mobile devices. You can actually set this to never, so they have to be paying attention to your screen to see what everyone answered. You can choose how your chart values, whether percentage or number of responses. You can choose your default chart type, whether it's a vertical, horizontal, donut, pie, or the response onlys. You can choose your labels here, whether they're just basic bullets or the answer text. You can display your correct answer indicator. You can display show bar on all slides. That's related to your turning point show bar. And we'll leave socket communication on. This helps with just the transferring of data back and forth. As we scroll down, we can also go in and create a countdown timer for each slide, and you can say if you want this or not. Once again, you can enable the physical clicker support so you can still use this. With this option enabled, you do need to have a dongle plugged into your computer. So if you do not have one, you can request one through the OIT Help Desk. With administration, your region is set when you first launch software. We are in North and South America. I've got this set to automatically check for updates, so we will stay to the latest and greatest version. Those are all the basic preferences. We'll go ahead and click Save. Feedback, if you want to provide feedback about the software, you can click here and it will open your email and allow you to send an email. About will give you the current version of TurningPointWEB. So that's the basics of the toolbar. Let's get started with actually adding some questions in here. So we go to our new, and we have a limited set of questions compared to our Turning Point desktop, but we have our multiple choice, our short answer, our word cloud, a numeric response, and a hotspot. And we're going to insert each one of these so you guys can see the different settings on each one. We'll start with a multiple choice. The multiple choice question type automatically inserts your question text here, so you can insert anything you want. I normally select my question text, highlight it, and enter my question. So we'll just say, how are you? And then down here, I'm going to select all of these. On a Mac, it automatically inserts 4 questions. On a PC, it starts with 1 and adds as we go. I'm going to select all of them and just start typing. And as I click off, you can see that as I added one, it did not automatically adjust the percentages. So I need to go up here and click refresh, and it's going to refresh this slide. And now we'll see that it did not refresh correctly. Let's try that refresh again. There we go. Sometimes you got to click in the right area on it to get it to refresh correctly. Now they're all 20%. So over on my question options, we have the anonymous question type, which allows us to say that this question is anonymous, that it will not store your student information with their question answer. We can set our point value, and we can set a correct answer here. And we can tell it whether or not we want to indicate the correct answer, and we can also allow multiple responses. Multiple responses is nice if you have those questions that allow a student to pick more than one response. You can choose your chart type as we showed you in the preferences. Here you can actually do it based on each question. So if I want to change it to a vertical question type, we can do that. We can change our labels if we need to. You can show your chart value. We can change our colors. We can decide when we want to do our results, and we can add a countdown timer. If you would like, you can also add a results slide, which would give the results on a separate slide from the question. So those are your basic questions for multiple choice. Let's go back over here. We are going to create a short answer. Short answer question type is just that. It's a short answer. So we can go over here and put in our question. And we get our question. If we do a refresh, it will not do much for this one because the responses here are based on what these students actually respond with. Once again, in the question options, you can do an anonymous. We can set our point value. The nice thing here is we can set our correct keywords. So if you're looking for a particular word or phrase, you can put that in here. So if I were to type blue, that would work. But I am going to type in a couple variations just in case. Now, you can see I added commas here, which is wrong. Multiple keywords should be separated with a semicolon. So I'm going to go back here and do blue, blue, and we're going to pause. Our next question type that we are going to do is a short answer. So we're going to go up and click Insert New Question and Short Answer. Our next question type that we're going to do is Short Answer. Click on New, and we're going to click Short Answer. And here we are going to enter our question text. And we can do any type of question we want here. And as you notice, I'm going to go up here and click refresh again. This is not going to change anything on this slide because our rank and responses and our chart are all based on what the students respond with. So we can go over to our question options, and once again we have anonymous, we have our point value, we have our correct answer. Now this is nice because we can actually start typing in our correct answers, and we can actually do any common misspellings that we want so that we can have those graded as well. Now each word needs to be separated by a semicolon so that it understands that it's a separate word and will check against all the words. We can say if it is case sensitive or not, and once again we can do our chart values in percentages and colors, our results, and we can add a countdown timer if we want. Our next question type is the word cloud. With this question type, it is the same as a short answer. So you can put in your question here. And we've got what is your favorite pastime. Over here in the question options, we have our anonymous option as well, point value, correct keyword, so you can set these to any keywords that you want. Now here, instead of it ranking them, they will get larger as more people respond to that with that same answer, and smaller ones are less responses. So it just gives you a nice, fun way to gauge responses to open-ended questions like this. Our next question type is a numeric response. With our numeric response, once again, we get a question text here. And in our question options, we also have anonymous, we have our point value, and we have our scoring method. We have a correct value or a correct range. So in this case, we know the correct value is 4, so we'll put it in there. So they have to type in exactly 4 to be able to get the correct answer here. If you're going for a range, you can say correct range and do a minimum and maximum for that range. So we have our chart values, our chart colors, our show results, and our countdown timer as well. Our final question type is a hotspot question. The hotspot question will actually pull in and prompt you for your image. So we can go and open an image, and we can ask a question here of and we can ask where UT plays football. Our final question type is a hotspot question. When we add this, it's going to prompt us for an image. I have a map of UT here, and we can ask a question. So I'm going to ask, where do we can ask a question like, where does UT play football? Now, the uniqueness of this question is that we have to go and manually add our hotspots to the question place. So on our question options, we have this option to add the hotspot. When we click on it, we get this orange box on our screen. Now we can drag this orange box wherever we want. We can resize it to whatever size we need. Now the nice part about this is we can add multiple hotspots. So I'm going to grab one more and finish out this, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So we could add multiple, so you can draw the shapes however you need those shapes to be, and anything inside this hotspot will be the correct area. Once again, we can add this as anonymous. We can delete any of these hotspots, and we can show the results either after polling, during, or not show at all. We can also add a countdown timer. So this gives you the ability to ask questions based on images and have the students select the correct space on the image. Those are the basics for the Turning Point question types within TurningPointWEB. Once again, all question types are under the Create, and yeah. So you can see that we have 5 question types for the TurningPointWEB. These question types are easy to use. The other nice thing about using TurningPointWEB as opposed to the desktop app is that your session results are not saved with your PowerPoint. So it is reset every time you start it. So you don't have to go in and remember to reset your sessions in your PowerPoint. And once again, all your answers are saved automatically to the web. That is the basics of TurningPointWEB for PowerPoint. So we're going to go ahead and close out of TurningPointWEB. We'll save this as sample. And we're going to relaunch TurningPointWEB. So our second option within TurningPointWEB is our anywhere polling. As you can see, it took a second, it logged me in. So our second option for TurningPointWEB is anywhere polling. So we can click Start Now on Anywhere Polling, and it's going to automatically prompt us for our session ID, which once again, I'm just going to use my basic UTK OIT 100 and have everything automatically save into my OIT test course. Once again, with TurningPointWEB, everything is automatically saved to our web, so we do not need to upload grades, we do not need to remember to save a session. It's automatically saved. When we start anywhere polling with TurningPointWEB, it gives us our command bar up here. In the lower right, we can see how many people are connected. I currently have 0 connected. You can see our session ID. Up here, we have our open polling, so this would default with a basic question type. We can see our number of responses. We can toggle on whether we're showing or hiding charts. We can minimize or maximize the window, so if we want to make this bar smaller, we can easily do that. We also have a few menu settings here. We can show a countdown timer. This is kind of nice. We can add, subtract time onto it very easily. We can toggle anonymous questions. We can hide the session information if we want to. We can also jump into our preferences. So once again, all these preferences are the same as what we saw on the PowerPoint questions. We can choose to display our show bar, whether our charts are displaying on our student accounts, how we're displaying our chart values. Here, though, we do have an option of when we send a screenshot to participants. We can choose when I open polling or never. So if you want to send your students a screenshot of what's currently on your screen, you can do that when you open polling. You can set the default question to how many responses. So if you normally ask a true or false, you can set this to 2. You can set your correct answer response, and you can set your default countdown timer. Once again, you can enable physical clicker support, but you do need the dongle attached to your computer, and you have the basic administration settings here. And once again, you can provide feedback. So if you click the down arrow, you do get multiple choice, and you can choose your responses here. You do have a multiple response, so this is different than your multiple choice. Similar but different, this automatically enables that ability to choose all that apply. You do have a short answer, a word cloud, numeric response, and a hotspot. Now, my only caveat with hotspot is make sure you're prepared with this one. We're going to go through each one of these and show you how to set them up in a live environment like this. So if we choose multiple choice for 2 answers, it's going to automatically open polling. You see it now says close, and the question is open. This is designed to allow you to ask questions on the fly. So you could ask something that has 2 answers, like, are you paying attention? A yes, B no. And when you close polling, you can actually show the responses, and there are no responses to show with this question. So So we are now going to step through each of the question choices. As you can see now, I have one user online, so you can see how you would see these responses as they're coming in. So if you just click the open, it's going to default to a 4-question multiple choice answer. So students will be able to see answer A, B, C, D on their devices, and you can go ahead and give those as a verbal cue, or you can bring something up on your screen. As students answer, you're going to see the responses go up. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and my responses are going to go ahead and show. Now, the nice thing that you can do here is you can toggle off number and response, so you can choose between those. But the neat thing here is you can grade on the fly. So we can click the green check, red X to set correct response. I can click this here and everything goes gray. And let's say A was the correct response. I'm going to click that there and then uncheck it. So A is the correct response and everything else is incorrect. Now, the drop down arrow here gives us a little bit more choices over our question types. We have the multiple choice, so if I go and choose just a 2 answer multiple choice, and this is going to be A is yes and B is no, as they respond, you'll see the responses toggling up. We're going to click close, and you're going to see those responses. Once again, we can go in here and check the correct answers for any of these, so we can grade on the fly. My next question is a multiple response. So this is the multiple choice, multiple response. So if I choose all 10 and I give the students a list of 10 options, they will see A through J on their device and they can choose any answers that they want. And when I close this, you will see all the responses that the students had. And if you want to, you can toggle correct answers as well. Our next question type is a short answer. So you can ask a question and they're just going to get a prompt on their screen to show an answer or to type in an answer. So if I ask what color is the Turning Point logo, they should type in blue. And when I close it, we're going to see the responses. So this is an easy way to get quick feedback without having to go in and actually create questions. So you can actually do these on the fly and create that engaging type response system. Word cloud is the same thing. It is a short answer, but instead of displaying in a list, it is going to display in that word cloud format. 2 more options here. We have numeric response. Once again, this only allows them to respond with a number. So if I ask them what is 2 plus 2, they get an answer. And when you close it, we're going to see those. So the numeric is a unique question type. It limits it to a number only, but it acts almost like a short answer. The final question type is the hotspot. Now, you need to be prepared with the hotspot question type because it sends a screenshot of your computer. So right now I have a black screen on my computer or on my phone and I can tap anywhere on it. So you need to be prepared with this one to have your image up already. So when I click close, you're going to see what they're seeing. You see my screen, you actually see my record area, and you see where I tapped. So those are the 6 question types that you have with the Poll Anywhere version of TurningPointWEB. Once again, these are more on the fly question types, and they work well when you want to actually have active conversations and engagement with your students to be able to respond. So when I close this, and I can go in here and close out of polling, it's going to ask me to name my session if I want to. I can click finish and that session is automatically saved up to the website. So I don't have to do anything else and I can close out of Turning Point. In one of our other videos, you will see how to look at your grades in the web version of Turning Point, and we will link to that below.